Welcome to Open School, your one-stop channel for learning various topics in an easy and enjoyable way. Today we're shining a light on countable nouns, a critical concept in English grammar. Whether you're a language learner, a grammar enthusiast, or simply someone looking to brush up on their English skills, understanding countable nouns is essential. They help us quantify, organize, and make sense of the world around us in a grammatical context. So, are you ready to dive into the world of countable nouns? Let's get started. Before we delve into countable nouns, it is crucial to understand what nouns are. In simple terms, a noun is a word that represents a person, place, thing, or idea. But did you know there are different types of nouns? Let's run through them quickly. First, we have common nouns which represent general items or people, like dog or city. Then we have proper nouns, which are the specific names of people, places, or organizations, such as John or Paris. Next, we have abstract nouns, which represent ideas or concepts that can't be touched, like love or freedom. Contrastingly, concrete nouns represent tangible things that can be seen or touched, like book or apple. And finally, we have collective nouns, which represent groups or collections of things, like team or flock. Now that you have a good understanding of nouns, it's time to focus on countable nouns. Countable nouns, as the name suggests, are nouns that we can count. These are items or concepts that exist as distinct and separate entities. Think of apples, books, cars, or dogs. You can have one apple, two books, three cars, or four dogs. They're individual units that can be tallied up. Countable nouns have two forms, singular and plural. A singular countable noun refers to one item only, like a book. The plural form refers to more than one item, like books. Their versatility doesn't stop there. Countable nouns can be used with numbers and the articles a or an. For instance, we say a dog, an apple, two cars, and so forth. Countable nouns are a fundamental part of English grammar, as they help us quantify the world around us. Remember, countable nouns can be singular or plural, and they can be used with numbers and the articles a or an. Now that we know what countable nouns are, let's talk about the rules. Firstly, countable nouns can be singular or plural. When a countable noun is singular, we typically use a or an before it. For instance, a cat or an apple. But when it's plural, we simply add s or es at the end, like cats or apples. Secondly, countable nouns can be quantified. This means we can use numbers with them. We can say 1 apple, 2 apples, or 100 apples. Notice that we use the plural form when the quantity is more than one. Thirdly, we use specific quantifiers with countable nouns. Words like few, several, many, and number of are used when referring to countable nouns. For example, we say few apples, not little apples. Fourthly, countable nouns can be definite or indefinite. When we talk about a specific thing or person, we use the. For example, the cat is sleeping. But when it's not specific, we use a or an, like a cat is a pet. Fifthly, countable nouns interact differently with verbs depending on their number. If the noun is singular, the verb should also be singular. For example, the cat sleeps. But if the noun is plural, the verb should be plural too, like the cats sleep. Lastly, countable nouns can be used in negative sentences and questions. We can say, I don't have a cat, or do you have any cats? Here, any is used in the negative sentence and question instead of a or an. So these are the basic rules of countable nouns. They help us use countable nouns correctly in sentences. Remember, a noun that can be counted is a countable noun, and it follows these rules whether it's 1, 2, or 100. Keep these rules in mind when you are using countable nouns. Knowing the rules is one thing, but applying them without making mistakes is another. Let's dive into some common errors people often make when using countable nouns, and more importantly, how to avoid them. First off, a widespread mistake is using fewer and less interchangeably. Remember, fewer is used with countable nouns, while less is used with uncountable nouns. So it's fewer apples, not less apples, and less water, not fewer water. Next, we often confuse when to use a or an before a noun. The rule is simple. A is used before words that begin with a consonant sound, and an is used before words that begin with a vowel sound. So it's a cat and an apple, not the other way around. Finally, the misuse of number and amount is another common error. Number should be used with countable nouns and amount with uncountable nouns. Thus, it's the number of cars and the amount of money, not vice versa. To avoid these mistakes, practice is key. Make a habit of reading and writing regularly and pay close attention to the use of countable nouns. Also, don't hesitate to consult a dictionary or grammar book when in doubt. Remember, language is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice. Avoiding these common mistakes will help you use countable nouns correctly. Let's wrap up what we've learned about countable nouns. We've discovered that countable nouns, unlike their uncountable counterparts, are individual items that can be counted. They can be singular or plural, and they often come with a or an in their singular form and some in their plural form. We've also covered the rules that govern countable nouns. Remember, these rules are not arbitrary. They have a significant impact on how our sentences are structured and understood. We've touched upon common pitfalls when using countable nouns and how to sidestep them. It's all about practice and patience, folks. Keep these rules in mind and you'll soon be using countable nouns like a pro. Understanding countable nouns is a stepping stone to mastering English grammar. They're a small but crucial part of the language puzzle. Thank you for joining Open School today. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more educational content. See you in our next video.